This is a U.S.-China media brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. The U.S.-China media brief features interviews with experts and other prominent individuals involved in studying and documenting the dynamic and ever-evolving relationship between the United States of America and the People's Republic of China. I'm Russell Leong, Director of the U.S.-China media brief of the UCLA Asian American Studies Center.
It's very different in places like Lesotho or in Zambia. In Zambia, the opposition presidential candidate and the last presidential elections ran on a specifically anti-China platform, having picked up on the fact that in Lusaka, in the capital area and in the mining area where the Chinese had purchased interest in the copper belt, and where they had some pretty bad accidents, industrial accidents, and the Chinese owners didn't kind of handle all of that very well. Michael Sata picked up on those tensions and basically ran his entire presidential platform on an anti-China kind of campaign. And he didn't win the elections, but in those two pockets around the capital and in the copper belt, he won by landslide. So he was obviously not too far off the mark. But the ways in which then, the kind of grassroots frustrations and tensions about all of these new Chinese migrants are being kind of mobilized and utilized by opposition political parties or social groups is what this paper is trying to explore.
Now, part of your research working group's interest is also looking at Africans in China, right?
Absolutely.
So what about that?
We have a few colleagues, most of them based in Hong Kong, who are starting to look at the growing number of Africans in China. Now, since the 1950s, 1960s, China has hosted numerous Africans, diplomats, but also increasing numbers of students to go there. But it's really only in the last 10 or 15 years where you see large numbers of African traders concentrating in South China, so cities where they have kind of a manufacturing base. And there's a growing community of Africans. I don't know if you can call it a community because a lot of these people are kind of there for a few months at a time and going back. But certainly in Hong Kong and in Guangzhou and in a number of other cities in the south, you have large numbers of Africans from all over the continent, but the highest numbers probably from Nigeria. And in Guangzhou, there's even an apartment, a building that they call Chocolate City, because it's just that whole area has become Africanized, if you will. And there also you've got some interesting dynamics. China's not quite sure how to deal with these increasing numbers of Africans. It's apparently quite difficult to ever become a Chinese permanent resident. And so and race issues as well are rising to the fore. So yeah, the colleagues that we have who are based in Hong Kong are looking at those issues.
So your working group is sort of has multiple bases, right?
Yeah.
Johannesburg, Hong Kong.
Basically, what we've tried to do is there's been so much interest recently on China-Africa relations and the renewed linkages between China and all of the African countries. But so much of what's come out, both in terms of media as well as scholarly works, have not been based on any real empirical research. And so the other thing is most of what's been written has been focused around issues of policy, of trade, and politics. And so what we wanted to get to was the actual kind of people issues, grassroots, looking at what's actually going on and what are the dynamics between communities, between host society and these new migrants. So what we've tried to do is convene a working group of people who are actually doing research on the ground. So we've got colleagues who are based in France who are doing work in Mali or in the Congo. We have a colleague at SOAS in London who's looking at Chinese as well as other issues in the Sudan. And so we obviously don't have coverage across the continent in Africa, but and there's a definite favoring of Southern Africa, because that's where I've been based, and several of my colleagues that we've been working together have been based. But we've now hosted recently at the end of August a conference, and we're looking at papers now and looking to try to publish at least 6, 7, 8 of those papers in a special issue of a journal, and hopefully some of this more empirically based research now will be able to come out, and there'll be more informed decisions about policies and things like that, because it's become almost a factory of sorts when you think about how many books have just come out in the last year with China and Africa in the title. So we're hoping to contribute meaningfully to the discourse.